Hi, my name is Ken Rasmussen, and this is a walkthrough and discussion of a new feature I just pushed out today. When you log in with a sample and you go and down on the UI, the new UI page, you will see that we have a new item added, which is sample comparison and symptom forecast. Right now, when you log in, you will and you select beginner symptoms, it will go and show you one series of forecasts, which is generally found to be reasonably accurate, and the number after indicates the confidence of the forecast. Now, I have not been happy with this method for forecasting what you could be developing as additional symptoms. So the result was that I went and did a different type of mathematics to make forecasts. And what I have done is add sample comparison and symptom forecast page, which is a new link here, and let's just see what it takes. It takes us to two things. One is up at the top, which I'm going to take a look at, which is comparing symptoms. And this is based on symptoms entered in either of the samples below, and you must enter symptoms in order to compute. So if you have no symptoms, you get absolute blank. If you have symptoms, you will do it. Now let's go back here and take a look, and we're going to compare the current sample or latest sample and an older sample, and now we're going to do a get report. And the get report shows all the symptoms entered. This person has almost 100 symptoms entered, and it will go and for each symptom in decreasing order for the confidence, shows the old value and the new value and an arrow indicating does it go down or does it go up. And this is not atypical for a lot of people using the symptoms and doing multiple samples. What we find is that you following this suggestion results in the number of symptoms become better. They go down a significant amount. Occasionally a few goes worse. In this case we have 7 going worse. We click here. Whoops. And uh, we will have to be somewhere down, way down the list to find out what they are. Um, but once you get down into the 60s and 70s, sometimes 10s, not. Okay, there we go. Okay, those are the ones which are worse, and none of them have really jumped up badly, but they have become more visible than they were before, so they weren't as severe. So this basically allows you to compare symptoms. If you want to go back even further, and let's take a look at 2 reports back, compare them, and we see the value here, and we find compared to 2 reports back, we have 65. Remember, we had 100 in the last one, we only have 65 here. Why does that happen? Very simple, because we look at symptoms which were reported for this sample or symptom report for that sample. So if the symptom has to be in one of the two, in this case, we probably the older sample had less symptoms and the newer sample may have none. So the result is you have less comparisons. But what we find is that every single one improved, which is the basic goal. Now, down below that, we have the odds ratio. The odds ratio is something like something you're familiar with. You know that if you smoke, the odds of getting lung cancer goes up. Doesn't mean you will get lung cancer. It means you have better odds of that. The best example I know of is Mr. George Burns, who throughout his career smoked cigars. He lived past 100, never got lung cancer. There's other factors involved, but um, we can now see here, and here we have the check mark indicating that this symptom has been, the person has marked as being one they have, and we can see what the odds ratio there. Um, and the higher the odds ratio, the more likely it is. We can also go and if we just click on odds ratio here 2 times, we now get a decreasing, and now we have things which they haven't checked. Um, and for example, condition non-celiac gluten sensitivity. This person I know isn't doesn't have non-celiac gluten sensitivity, but I do know that their diet would be one acceptable for somebody who has non-celiac gluten sensitivity. And the reason for the diet is a totally different reason. It's mast cell activation syndrome, which means that, hey, the fact that the microbiome suggests that it is a good example that it suggests something but it doesn't suggest you have it. It in some ways it suggests your microbiome is going that direction, and the reason it could be going from that is by other diet choices you have. Um, the next one is an interesting one because this person is still having hot flashes, so it could be deemed to be slightly disputable. The definitions that come in are people's definition, however the character interprets it. Some people may mark that when they are having hot flashes as having a temperature. Whatever it is, the microbiome reflects that. The next one is actually technically correct for this person, so that one, the steps per day isn't, but as you go down and scan through, physical steps less than 2,000 is probably incorrect, but it goes down there and it shows things. And down the bottom, you get things which you also they don't have. But guess what? They do have it. In this particular case, I know that that was an old condition, but it may have difficulty there. Um, Again, it odds ratio. It is not absolute guaranteed to be there. Um, so you can see the other issues here. And the odds ratios are just that odd ratio. It's not predicting you will have. It indicates your microbiome matches the pattern for people who have this condition. And the reason could be because you're going in that direction from how the microbiome is evolving, or because your diet style happens to be matching somebody who has that condition and has adapted their diet to match. So it's it's not as clean cut as we would like to be, which is why it's sitting there. Now, if you go up to the top and you say, okay, let's go and take a look at one from 2 times before, and we do a get report, and it will recompute the odds ratio down the bottom, and the ratios are down below, and we can do the same thing as we did before. Click here, and whoa, guess what? We have much better matches. Odds ratio for the first 6 were absolute agreements. So again, these are predictions. There is fuzziness involved with that. Um, and you will occasionally get some really good results down below here. And let's take a look at older one here just to do it once more. And this one, the person in this case, 2 improvement, 25 got worse. That was about 4 samples ago. The last couple of samples have all been improvement. So that is basically it. Very simple process. You go here, you click here, and you start getting information. You can look here to see what the original algorithm does. The second algorithm using odds ratio is a little bit more complex mathematically. Um, and it comes up with slightly different answers because it handles data in a different manner. Particularly it considers bacteria you do not have any of in determining the odds ratio. Whereas this algorithm here is basically on the amount of bacteria you have, period. It does not look at bacteria you do not have in its formula. So there's a difference there. So 2 different ways. Each way gives valuable information. Okay, and that should be it. Have fun exploring this new feature.